Hey, welcome to the episode 7 of the Coffee Table Podcast. I go by the name of Jay Jack. My co-host is Funky Cole Medina, and our man behind the boards, we call him Fresh West. And our special guest today is none other than man. Can I call you an ESPN analyst? Can I do that?
Hey Jay, bro, you can call me ESPN reporter, Bonzi, man. Hey, whatever you want to do, man.
Bonzi J. Wells. That's what we should. That's one of the names. But hey, so man, this could be a big episode. My guys are excited. Funky Cole's excited. Fresh West is excited. West doesn't usually do too much talking, but I know Funky Cole's got a little Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield issue he wants to bring up with this cat. So they'll be talking. West will be talking a little bit, but Wes is excited to have you on, and I definitely wanted to pick your brain with a couple things. So he'll probably pipe in here and there.
And then I got a couple things I want to run through, little NBA stuff. Then I have a list that actually Coach is excited to get into, because a couple weeks ago, I went over a top 20 quarterbacks of the 21st century list. We had kind of had our issues with it. This week, we have a top 20 running backs of the 21st century list that I have issues with, and I'm sure Coach will. But
listen, hey, first of all, I'm not sure I can mess with anybody showing up during this wearing a Victor Oladipo jersey. If you're gonna wear an Oladipo shirt, it needs to be Houston Rockets related, man. Oladipo is old news in Indiana, man.
Wait a minute. So there's beef. I can't wait to get to the bottom of this.
There's beef. So I actually want that's part of my questions. So there's beef clearly from the Indiana standpoint that I'm interested in.
Okay. Yeah, that's good though. You see my guy, man. Hey, he pulls no punches. In fact, let me give you a little flashback about this cat, man. This is my dude. We done made trips to Vegas. We done made trips to Arizona. Like, this is Mike Wells is one of my guys, man, and we got some stories, And
listen, man. Hey, Jay Jack in college, man. He used to be posted up the house parties at his crib with his boys, man, playing E40 and just be chilling. Hey, sipping on, as I like to call them, adult beverages.
Yes,
that's
sir.
how I say, sipping on them adult beverages back in the day.
That's what I used to say, them adult beverages for sure. Hey, speaking of which, man, what's everybody sipping on, man? Hey, check out my mug today, though. I got that fish mug, though.
I got some water.
That's that main stuff going right there for you, man. You said fish.
Hey, man. Well, hey, you acting like we ain't Seattle. We ain't from Seattle, and we ain't from Eastern Washington, there, buddy. No, that goes down out there too.
No, you true, man. Listen, I'm sipping on. I got a little Malbec right now. My boy Mark Spears from ESPN and Undefeated. He lost a bet to me, so we had a bet on the loser had to buy a bottle of wine with $100 minimum, and I won the bet. So he sent me some Napa Valley stuff right here.
Oh yeah, go ahead,
Jay. Hey, Jay. Wait, time out. Jay, speaking of $100 bets, bro.
I was getting ready to bring that up. Don't worry. I ain't forgot. Let me tell the story. So, hey, man. So, hey, Funky Cole. Funky Cole's pretty rigid. He likes to, go a certain way, but we're just kind of letting it fly early. And you all right with that? We're gonna get to everything.
I'm loving this, man. I'm loving this.
May go long enough to where we got to have a couple episodes. We have to split this one in half. But just so you guys know, this is what I'm sipping on. Some of that. Back to the $100 though. I was just going to bring it up before you mentioned you were sipping on a little Merlot or what you're sipping on there. So, man, we get to talking mess, man. I'm talking mess with Wells and like how we always do. And we used to battle. We used to hoop. Like in college, it went down out there.
Who was the better hooper?
Wait, time out. Hey, 20-second time out. Jay Jack getting to the story on it. Listen, we talking about $100, so clearly we had a bet on the line.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Mike Wells is the better hooper. I got to. Right.
Hey, but the thing is, we used to hoop in college. We had intramural runs. We used to play on Sunday afternoons. We get there all day.
Saturday, Friday nights after being off them adult beverages, we come in sweating that adult beverage stuff out of our pores.
Yes.
On Saturday and Sunday, because we go kick it Saturday night too. And then Sunday we come out, man, about 9-ish. Everyone's sweating. All them adult beverages.
Listen, anyway. hey, we sweat so much alcohol in the system, you leave out the gym feeling buzzed still because you sipping up your own sweat of vodka.
Yeah, it was a what's today? Hey, Wells, it was basically a Bloody Marys. We was out there. We was running around there, it was like real human life Bloody Marys, right? So anyway, man, this was after college. man, and Mike had an injury, man. I mean, he was the first one that I knew that did his Achilles, had an Achilles tear. And, you don't really understand what that's about until you have it happen to you. So I remember when he did it, we was hooping. And that was kind of when I want to say, Mike, man, I felt like your first 2 or 3 years at Siwoo, you were at your peak because you was hooping with the team. You was that guy. You were there. And then as we got older, we started, putting on a little bit of weight, and Mike kind of, Mike was doing his own thing. And so he had, tore his Achilles one day, and we didn't really realize what was happening because you don't pay attention until it happens to you. And after that, he had got better, but he's never really 100% after that. You don't
never, ever.
And so, man, we get to woofing one day. I don't know how it got started, but we talking, and I'm like, man, we both like, he's like, put 100 up. I'm like, yeah, I'll put 100 up. Man, I know I can beat Mike. I'm thinking it's in my, naturally, and you thinking I know I can beat you.
Hey, that's a competitive side of us right there. That's what it is.
Right, man. And so the first game, man, we played best 2 out of 3. We went up to this little spot right up in Kent, remember?
And they had the thing over top of it in case it rained.
Yep. And man, first game, Mike gave me the business. It was probably like 11-5. Gave me work first game, right? Second game.
Jay got me.
Second game, man, I got on a roll, man, and gave him the business. Beat him like 11-8.
Yeah.
Last game, man, he just kind of, he started backing me down. Because, Mike, you were about, what, 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah. Taking advantage of the height. But here's the best part about it, though. As much as fun as it was, we had our boys there too. All our boys you go on these trips with, and it was like you had one cat for Team J Jack, and then I had another cat. This cat named Kenny. He was Team Bonzi. Yeah. And Kenny's short, but he run his mouth. He run his mouth nonstop. So he's over there yakking. He's like, get him, Bonzi. He can't hold you. I mean, it's like you got 4 grown men there just talking trash. Yeah. Everybody talking trash. Somebody, Vitamin was for J Jack, and I had Kenny for me, and we just going back and forth. Hey, I needed like an ice bath for like 6 weeks after that. Them old bones couldn't handle it.
He gave me the work, man. I couldn't deal with the height, and I just didn't. I wasn't hacking Mike like you know what I mean. Like I wasn't doing all that. I wasn't gonna say I was acting like we weren't paying for $100, but I'm just not a hacker like that, and I should have been. I should have been like, I know, no.
Check it up, pal. Check it up.
I should have, and it didn't happen that way, man. Mike got me, man. Hey, I gave up the $100. I wasn't bitter. I was more bitter with myself, and just not winning. But it wasn't, it was all love. Went and gave him his bread, and it was what it was. But I'll never forget that. I was just thinking about that the other day.
No, that was a good time. I'm telling you, man. We got stories galore, man. I mean, that's what brotherhood is. As good as it is, Jay's living out there in Maine and having to enjoy everything. It sucks because he's so far away. When we take our annual trips, we take the annual guide trips and stuff, and that's a long flight from Maine. Jay spent 1 day flying and 1 day flying back, so that takes away the trip and everything, man. So, but you know what? No matter what, we always gonna be brothers. That's the thing.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, and shout out to Bonzi. Shout out to Mike, man, because this cat's golf game has just. You know what I mean? Like I remember, man, we went to Vegas, man, and we golf. We do these Vegas trips, and man, we would golf, and Mike would be like, "I'm good." I remember Mike just wouldn't even. Mike's like, "Man, I'll drive the cart."
Yeah, hey. Well, first of all, because I'm hungover the next morning, and I ain't getting up. I can't play when I'm sober, but hungover. I'm like, man, I'll ride the cart in 120 degree heat just to be with the fellas and stuff, man. But money well spent, though. I had money well spent on the game.
Yeah, man. And then all of a sudden, man, I mean, the last time we played in Arizona, man, you was out there I'm like, this cat. You was like, yeah, Jay, I took it up. He goes, all those years of me not playing with you guys, I finally said, man, too many people in my work environment play golf. A lot of your cats that I know you work with play golf. So he's like, I had to get at it. So now he be out here grinding, man. So
yeah,
shout out to you for that, man. Let's get into you want to get into some stuff, Funky Cole?
Well, I just wanted to start off. I think that was kind of like a good sort of intro for the guest. And then we'll get into more questions to my work, job related questions and stories towards the end. Because I know that we kind of get to our RIPs now. And I know that you have one, Coach. And I have actually. So
hey, before we slide into that, let me at least have Mike kind of tell you how he
No,
got
I
the
agree.
gig.
Yeah.
That's one because we went to Central Washington University. That's a small university in Eastern Washington.
Right.
And man, I will never forget, man. Mike was getting ready to, he was looking for a gig. Like you get around that junior year or that time where you're like, man, I gotta find a job. Like we've been kicking it for 3 years or whatever. Mike's like, man, I'm about to hit this job fair, man. I'm like, okay. I tell this story to people all the time, how you got your gig, Mike, when I be bragging about you, like, man, my guy, tell these guys how you got started. First of all, let them know what your title is. And then let them know how you got started.
No, I'm a reporter, ESPN reporter, cover the Colts, but still dabbling in some NBA stuff. Have an opportunity to cover some golf. Walked 18. I've walked 18 holes with Tiger Woods for an entire weekend several times. There's some big time events, and it's funny, man. Like Jay alluded to, Central Washington University is not known as a journalism school, but it was all about. I tell people it's about making that grind, whatever you can do to be successful. And if there was an opportunity for something, I dabbled in it while I was there. And I'll never forget, I was at a job fair in the summer of 1999. I was covering the Seahawks training camp in Cheney, Washington. And I went back to Seattle, and the late Stuart Scott was there. And, that's when Stuart Scott was like, booyah. That's when he was dropping all the things on Sports Center and everything. Hey, Funky Cole, you may not even been born during the peak of Stuart Scott's time. Because, you still wet behind the ears, bro. You still wet behind the ears. So,
I was born in 98. So I was.
Yeah, this was 99. So, bro, you was still up in there in diapers, peeing in the bed and everything.
Yo, you already know, wetting them sheets.
Yeah, so you didn't listen. This was summer 99. I go up to Stuart Scott. I'm like, Stuart, man. I'm like, Stuart, hey, I'm a big fan of yours. I know you hear it all the time, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, my goal is to work at ESPN one day. And he was like, you know what? You shoot for it, that opportunity to come. And of course, I'm sure he said that to everybody. And so that was 14 years before I got hired at ESPN. But after I left Seattle, I spent time in Minnesota, covered the Minnesota Vikings, University of Minnesota men's basketball.
How'd you get that Minnesota gig?
A good friend of mine, Percy Allen at the Seattle Times. He knew somebody in Minnesota, and he was kind of like a mentor to me. And he dropped my name to the people in Minnesota that, hey, there's this young kid out here who works hard. He's got a chance. You should look at him. So in this business, you got to go where the job's at. You got to relocate across the country. I had never been to Minnesota before outside of the airport. My first winter in Minnesota. Woo. I'm sure you guys can feel it. My first 2 weeks in December, it didn't get above 0. And I had a 1998 Dodge Neon. Woo. That bad boy would not start if I did not have underground heated parking. But listen, I'm going to Minnesota. I'm covering Dante Culpepper, Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Robert Smith. I'm out there in the heyday. I go to the Timberwolves in 2003, and we got Kevin Garnett winning league MVP, Latrell Sprewell up over there, Sam Cassell, Wally Zerbiak. They get to the Western Conference Finals playing the Lakers. That's when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq. Mm-hmm. They also had Jay Jack's boy, GP, Gary Payton. Carl,
it already happened.
Famers on that bad boy, and they pushed them. They went 6 games, and honestly, I think that the T-Wolves would have won that series had Sam Cassell not injured his groin and had to sit out that series. They had an opportunity to beat them. So I leave there in Minnesota. I leave Minnesota in January 2005. Come here. I get Reggie Miller's last 4 months of his Hall of Fame career, and that was 2 months after the brawl, the Ron Artest brawl in Detroit.
Win it that year.
Yeah, so I'm spending time in Indianapolis while also spending time up in Detroit in court because Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, Artest, they all up there dealing with legal issues because J.O. and them out there dropping 2 pieces in the biscuits on cats up there in the palace during the brawl. So it was a great run with the Pacers. 8.5 years. My last year was the year that the Pacers were the young up and coming team with Paul George and George Hill, Roy Hibbert, David West, my boy Lance Stevenson, and they took LeBron and company to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
I'm up in there living the life in Miami, eating scripts and steak in Miami.
Oh yeah, I used to see you on TV. I'd be like, look at Wells. I pause it. There's my boy right there.
Yeah, so they go 7 games against them, and I'm on my way to the Fort Lauderdale Airport, I-95, and I get a call Didn't recognize the number. For some reason, I don't normally answer phones. I don't normally answer calls that don't have the right numbers that I don't recognize. And I answered the phone, and the woman was like, "Hey, this is such and such from ESPN." I'm thinking, okay, maybe they want to do a radio interview. She's like, we're about to hire reporters for all 32 NFL teams. They're like, would you be interested? And I was like, well, I said, I want my coworkers right now because I ain't trying to tip my hand to people like to talk. Yeah. I'm like, let me call. Can I call you back when I get to the airport? And so that started my run at ESPN in August 2013, and been there ever since then. I went, from Paul George to Andrew Luck. So it's been a heck of a run. And I'm gonna tell you now, hey, Funky Cold Oladipo, I'm calling you Funky Cold Oladipo. You ain't Funky Cold to me. My man, hey, he's getting excited hearing these stories. I can see the questions trolling in his head, Jay. He's sitting back in the chair like, I got a question for him.
He's going to ask you, too.
How'd you know that, man? I had like 3 from what you just said, at least.
Hey, Mike, man. Hey, peep game, though. Remember, I'll never forget this. I was talking to somebody about this the other day at school, one of my students. I said, man, you come up a lot, actually, Mike, when I'm talking to people, man, because you a celeb now, Even though you the same old Mike, you ain't never changed, but you a celeb. So I was like, man, I said, you don't know about Latrell Sprewell, do you? I'm like, man, oh yeah, he got offered that contract, and then da-da-da. I said, man, you know what's funny? I said, man, my guy, he didn't used to really like to partake with them in a certain way because he was a beat writer. He had to write about them. So he didn't want to, have to say something and then they'd be feeling a certain type of way. So they're always trying to offer him drinks and have him come hang out with him at the bar. And he'd be like, oh, it's good. So he said this one particular moment, he was like, oh man, I got a family to feed. I got mouths to feed. And he said that to them cats, man, and they got a kick out of what he said. They was cracking up at Mike, laughing at you. Remember you told me the story?
Yeah. Hey, because Sprewell was trying to get a new contract. He wanted a contract extension. And I'll never forget, I waited for him after a practice for like 2 hours because he had a routine. He would get his practice in, then he would go lift. And I waited for like 2 hours just to see if he was going to get a deal. And I think it was like the T-Wolves were offering 3 years for $21 million, $7 million a year. And, nowadays that ain't nothing. But this was back in 2004. So, that $7 million a year, that's okay. Mm-hmm. And I said, why ain't you happy about that? He goes, because I got a family to feed. I was like, what? And that thing, you Google Mike Wells, Latrell Sprewell, the family to feed, and that's what's going to pop up. But here's the coolest thing about Latrell Sprewell, because everybody thinks about Latrell and PJ Carlesimo when he choked him out in Golden State.
I was going to ask you, but
that's where I'm going with this. Latrell, in 20 plus years in this business, Latrell's one of the coolest cats I've ever been around. His knowledge of the game is so tight. And I put this on Twitter recently because somebody tweeted, I think Hoops Hype was like, what is a memorable memorable moment with a basketball player or somebody? And I tweeted, there used to be this club that all the players went to right across the street from Target Center in Minneapolis. And I'm up in there, I'm young and stuff, single. I'm trying to, go in on a Friday night, kick it. Mm-hmm. And Latrell Sprewell and Sam Cassell never drank alcohol, never drank alcohol. They're up in the VIP section. I'm walking around, trying to be Joe Cool and stuff. And Latrell Sprewell does one of these, waits me up to the VIP section. He's got a couple bottles of Cristal.
Oh boy.
One half empty, one full. And he goes, hey man, hey, take this. I'm like, Spree, no, I'm good, bro. I appreciate it, bro. He goes, listen, I know your young ass can't afford this Cristal, so take this bottle. I mean, Cristal, we ain't talking about that cheap bubbly stuff you can get up in Walmart for like $5. Yeah. We talking about bottles of Cristal up in there. And he goes, you take this bottle. I'm like, nah, Spree, I can't take it. Unethical and stuff. But that's the type of cat Latrell Sprewell was. And covering the NBA, period, all of them cats is cool like that. I think you might have been in Maine already. It was the last year the Sonics were in Seattle. And every time we went out there, the fellas would always get together. We always hit downtown Seattle. Mm-hmm. And it was me and Vitamin and, Bowie and all them. Yeah. And we up in the club, and Al Harrington had gotten traded back to the Pacers for a second go-around. And Jermaine O'Neal, J.O., Al, and a couple other cats were up in the club. And Al Harrington comes up, he goes, hey, man, I introduced the fellas to myself, and they talking trash. Oh, I can't believe you messing with Wells. How y'all boys? One trash talking.
Right.
But hey, Al walks away. He goes, hey man, just so you know, tell your boys, drinks are on me. Drinks are on me tonight.
Wow.
So that's how these cats in the NBA are, man. You develop those relationships, and they want to take care of you. You know, obviously, from my standpoint, from a media standpoint, I can't do it. It's unethical,
right?
Because they can come back and bite me in the booty,
right?
But that's just a prime example. We're talking about Latrell Sprewell, who everybody thinks is crazy, which is the polar opposite. He's not crazy. Ron Artest is not crazy.
Prior to the PJ Carlissimo incident, man, I heard nothing but good things about Latrell, man. I heard he was a very giving cat, man, and just a good dude, man. So, you know.
Yeah, I feel.
So, yeah, man. I'm sorry, Funky Cole. We just kind of all over the place, but you know, this is my guy, man.
Listen, I'm enjoying these stories, man.
Let's get into some RIPs though, man.
One, two. So I have. Well, one, you go first. I have a couple, but you go first, Coach.
Yeah, because I definitely want to talk about one, and then I want to make sure that we give Sekou Smith some more love. We gave him some love the other day on the show, but Mike had a special relationship with that cat, so it'd be good to hear him give him a little love and a little shout out too. So, but first of all, I gotta say rest in peace to Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys.
Man, I'm telling you, listen, crush, grooving. Body moving.
You already know. Hey, Prince Marky D was the one that used to do the stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em. You know what, man? Prince Marky D was the dude, bro. Yeah, man.
Coach, that's the start of that.
Yeah, that was he was a fat boy, man. Hey, and then he even after they were done, man, he still made a lot of music and did a lot of producing. So I just want to say rest in peace to Prince Marky D, aka the Puerto Rican Prince, man. But he was the one that used to hit him with the Buddha stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em. You know, so that was my dude, man. So I just want to say rest in peace, man. And man, he definitely entertained me, man, and just really, I grew up on them guys, man. He was one of the best parts of hip hop. You know,
man. Now you right about that, Jay, man. It's crazy. We losing way too many people way too young.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, Coach, do you want me to hit my RIPs next, or do you want me to go to Sekou next?
Let's go to Sekou, and then you hit yours.
Word.
So, Mike, a couple weeks, when Sekou passed, man, a few episodes back, we made sure we gave him love, and man, I saw that the message that you sent me that he sent you, man. He would have been one of my dudes, huh?
Bro, I'm telling you, listen, man, he didn't have a mean bone about him, and what people don't realize is that the reason why I'm in Indianapolis is because of Sekou Smith. I mean, it's such a small world. Sekou Smith was covering the Pacers. And then when he left the Pacers to move to Atlanta to cover the Atlanta Hawks, he mentioned my name to the sports editor here in Indianapolis and said, hey, I got this cat in Minnesota. And it was like a month after the Latrell Sprewell Iowa family feed. So everybody in the NBA was talking about it. They knew who I was. So it was like one of those perfect storm type things. Sekou moved up in the business to a better job. And so here was my opportunity to do it. And so we became real close friends. His family stayed here in Indianapolis because it was during the middle of the school year. And him and his wife didn't want to relocate the kids during the school year. Right. So they stayed here in Indy. And so Sekou would come back all the time. So I'd be hanging out at the house. That brother, I'm going to tell you this right now. Mm-hmm. I like to think I'm a bomb cat on the grill, big green egg. Shout out to the big green egg folks. I know you're a Traeger cat, Jay, but I'm a big green egg cat. But Sekou was on them old school, crumple, ball up the newspaper, put some lighter fluid up on there, and put some Kingsford charcoal up in there, and he would put his foot into that barbecue. That's how that cat was.
He's one of them.
Yes.
He seems so cool, man. The message you sent me was like, man, this would have been one of my dudes for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely good people, man. Real good people.
And clown on you how proper you talk, because he'd be on both of us. You already know.
I can't repeat the message I sent Jay, but we keep that hush.
Talking about how proper we talk, you know what I'm saying? But hey, we enunciate our stuff from the town, right?
Oh yeah. Hey, I tell cats all the time, man. We talking like homies. I'm gonna talk trash. I'm gonna cuss and everything. But when the camera's on or the microphone's on, I'm gonna be proper. I'm gonna sound like what did Wesley Snipes say in New Jack City? I'm gonna say one of them upper brothers from the Upper West Side, man. When he's talking about Christopher Williams.
Yeah. For real. So yeah, hey, rest in peace to Sekou Smith, man.
Sure.
You know, and I'm just glad Mike got to put his stamp on it, man, and give him that, you know, someone that actually knew the man. You know, I know him from watching him from TV and all the love that he got, man. But I mean, I have somebody that I know that knows him, man, and kind of put me in touch with him just by giving me that message. Just that was beautiful. So rest in peace, Sekou.
All right. So I have two. One's not really an RIP, but it's an anniversary and kind of fits well with February. So February, Black History Month. And 56 years ago today, Malcolm X got shot. So I think that's kind of an important milestone just to touch up upon, you know, obviously.
Right.
We discussed this a couple months back. I watched the movie, sat down and watched it in one sitting, and it really kind of made me see a lot of things differently than I had already known about a lot of it, but it really opens your eyes to stuff, and it's a powerful movie. So, you know, kind of obviously it's not a celebratory anniversary, but still something worth talking about. And then the other one, and I don't know how much Mike knows this player because obviously he's never played in the city that he's covered, but I don't know how much he knows about him. But obviously, RIP to DeMar DeRozan's dad. I know DeRozan is viewed as one of the nicest guys in the NBA. And I know his dad was like a role model to him. So that's one of the RIPs that I wanted to throw out.
I like
Okay. Listen, man, I felt bad for DeMar. Obviously for his father passing, but then he gets traded to San Antonio, and then Kawhi comes to Toronto, and all of a sudden they win a championship and everything. Man, DeMar was loyal to the city of Toronto.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing, and I'll get into my basketball stuff later because I'm a big Vic guy. I have a soft spot for the Pacers, which I'll explain my Vic obsession later. We'll get into that later. But I'm also a big Toronto guy. But anyways, moving forward, next up is the rookie watch, Coach. And so I don't know if you told Mike, who we picked as our rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah, we're out of the hunt. Put it that way, man. I thought my boy Obi Toppin was going to come in and you know, they was actually going to play him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then when you have 50 power forwards on the squad, I guess it doesn't really, you know, get it where you fit in.
Coach, so I looked it up. So our boy Obi Toppin right now is averaging a stunning, amazing 4.9 points per game, sitting 27th amongst rookies. So we really killed that one.
Damn it.
Anyways,
so who you guys got leading it right now then? If Toppin's not in it,
well, first in points right now in the race is LaMelo. LaMelo's number one amongst rookies right now. But
LaMelo just right now after watching him, I mean not watching him, but just keeping up with him recently because I had Halliburton and him neck and neck.
Oh well, number two no longer is Halliburton.
Right.
Number two, and this will be a little side story. Is Mr. Baby Calves there? Got men in his calves. Anthony Edwards decided to dunk all over.
Oh, that dunk, boy, that was nasty.
Listen to me. So I'm watching that game, right? And I see that dunk, and I'm always posting stuff on my Instagram about, you know, Toronto, because I kind of mess with them because there's a whole Portuguese background. I'm Portuguese. Toronto got a lot of Portuguese, so I vibe with them. And I watched that dunk, and I'm like, damn, people about to start texting me. Just wait. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, my boy from high school, he actually played on the Cape football team his senior year. He was our quarterback. He played basketball. You know, J.O., Coach?
Yeah, Shaq O'Rourke.
Yeah. He texts me and he just sends me an Instagram picture of the dunk. And I said, dude, if you don't stop right now, we don't have problems. And then Deacon Dave Jones has the audacity of posting the video of the cop cars that pull up, and that's a dead body when I texted him, I said, you did not just go there, boy. I'm like, you need to take that back right now.
Yeah.
I was salty about that. But let me tell you something, man. When he dunked like that, I just sat there for 5 minutes and I was like, damn.
Yeah, he did. I mean, they did need
to. He took off, like he jumped straight up. He just jumped straight up.
Yeah, they needed to bring a hearse. Because, hey, he put his hand, I felt like he put his hand through the bottom of the net and just dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Banged on him.
The dude literally had his package in this dude's freaking chest. Like, that's what bothered me the most is, and then he falls. First of all, he had a scary fall. The way Anthony Edwards falls, he's lucky he didn't hurt.
Right.
And then he fell, and he looks up, and he just looks at him like, "Player, what you talking about?" That's kind of the game. I was like, "Dang, man."
Yeah.
This dude's no, but that dunk was crazy. So he's second, Halliburton's third, Emmanuel Quickly's fourth,
He been balling.
Is fifth.
Who's fifth?
Wiseman.
Okay. Yeah, Wiseman ain't played in a minute either.
Nah.
I think it's gonna come down to him, and it could come down to, if he doesn't get back soon, though. I don't know.
And all right, so that's the rookie watch.
Okay.
And next up, and I'm gonna play a quick video because I know we talked about this, and I really want to know Mike's opinion on this. So I'm gonna y'all see what it is as soon as I put the video up. Y'all see where I'm going with this. So Draymond, his comments.
To watch Andre.
Hold on, I gotta make sure that I'm sure all of you guys have already heard this, but I'm still gonna play it for us
to watch Andre Drummond before the game, sit on the sideline, then go to the back, and then come out in street clothes because a team is going to trade him is bullshit. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think there was no surprise or there's no one's going to fight back that James was dogging it his last days in Houston. But he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team, and everybody destroyed that man. And yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy is to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's a cancer, and he's not good in someone's locker room, and he's the issue. And we've seen situations of Harrison Barnes getting pulled off the bench. DeMarcus Cousins finding out that he's traded in an interview after the All-Star game. And we continue to let this happen. But I got fined for stating my opinion of what I thought should happen with another player. But teams can come out and continue to say, oh, we're trading guys, we're not playing you. And yet we're to stay professional. At some point, as players, we need to be treated with the same respect and have the same rights that the team can have. Because as a player, you're the worst person in the world when you want a different situation. But a team can say they're trading you, and that man is to stay in shape. He is to stay professional. And if not, his career is on the line. At some point, this league has to protect the players from embarrassment like that. We talk all of this stuff about you can't do this, you can't say that publicly. If you say that publicly, you're fine. Anthony Davis got fined, I think, $100,000 or something like that for demanding a trade publicly. But you can say Andre Drummond is getting traded publicly, and we're looking to trade him publicly, and he's to stay professional and just deal with it. But then when Kyrie Irving say, oh, my mental health is off, everybody go crazy about that too. Do you not think that affects someone mentally? As much as we put into this game to be great.
So basically, that was that. And so first of all, background, I know Coach kind of what he mentioned was like, you and I both have been on Harden for the way that he got out of Houston.
Yeah.
So my point to you is, and also for Mike is, how do y'all feel about Draymond's point about how teams are just sitting players that they want to trade? Like Draymond hasn't played for like a week now. And it's interesting because I actually was listening to a different podcast, the Ryan Russillo podcast, during the week, when they talked about this, and he had Richard Jefferson on. And Richard Jefferson basically said that like a lot of people like don't understand the impact that this has on people's families and all this stuff, especially the teams, and they just go ahead and kind of do it and just kind of don't realize the impact on the players and everything and the mental health and all that. So I kind of want to know your guys' opinion on teams doing this.
Here's my thing. Here's my perspective. I'm going to tell you now. I didn't like how James Harden handled everything on his exit. And I'm going to talk about your boy Vic Oladipo on how to handle exit things in a bit. But Draymond made an excellent point because, like he said, Andre Drummond, they told Andre Drummond they said to sit back at essentially sit at the crib and don't get fat. Don't eat chicken wings nonstop because we need to be able to trade you when the opportunity presents itself. Why can't James Harden say, hey, I'm going to stay away from the team and I won't get fat. I won't be down there eating no brisket and barbecue down here or Tex-Mex in Houston. I'll stay in shape, but I want to stay away from the team. The team's like, no, we need you out here because we want to win some games still. But in Cleveland, they're like, we're going to play younger players. So Andre, just sit back and chill. So Draymond made an excellent point about that situation.
Right. That's how I felt about it, Coach.
I'm 100% on board with Draymond. Like, I agree with you, Mike. Like, we talked about it numerous times on the show. The way that Harden acted, I don't even want to say it's completely about professionalism. It's just about just, man, being safe out there. Like, I mean, we're in a pandemic and this cat's out here wilding out. Like, so that part bothered me, and disrespecting his players and talking bad about who he was playing with basically bothered me. But we all know that whenever a team decides what they want to do with a player, its gloves are off. But if a player decides that they want to be like, look, I'm not messing with you guys no more. I don't want to be with you anymore. And this is from fans too. Oh, he's selfish. He has no loyalty. It's like, man, if LeBron James all of a sudden had a knee injury and some knee issues, man, and wasn't productive, if you think that LA is going to hang on to him, you're sadly mistaken. So I agree with Draymond 100%, man. Like, it something needs to be done in that sense. An organization needs to be held just as accountable as these athletes are in regards to how they decide to deal with leaving or having an athlete leave their organization.
And I agree. Now, my last point on this is Draymond briefly mentioned the whole Kyrie Irving mental health, taking a break for that, and him catching a lot of flack for that. And I know, Coach, you feel a certain way about Kyrie. I feel a different way. Kind of like back to you, Mike. Like, is that relatable to the whole trade thing, or is that a whole different thing in and of itself?
Meaning, I'm sorry, which player are we talking about?
Kyrie. So Kyrie is always taking breaks for mental health stuff, and he's always catching.
Man, come on. I mean, hey, Kyrie. Listen, I love Kyrie as a player. I love him as a player.
Thank you.
But here's my thing. He didn't want to play Robin the Batman with LeBron in Cleveland. He goes to Boston. He gets hit. He and Gordon Hayward unfortunately get injured, and that allowed for Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Rozier, all those young pups to step into the forefront and ball out with the Celtics. And then when Kyrie came back the following season, he didn't like taking the back seat to things, so he got his way out of there, out of Boston. How long can he's saying all the right things right now, playing alongside KD and Harden? But as the season goes on, is he gonna come up with another? Hey, I don't want to be Curly to Larry and Moe with the Brooklyn Nets.
Hey, does he not sound? Who's he sound like on your Funky Cole when he's talking about Kyrie? Your boy, Mike. Man, we're here, man. You might need to get me on. Yeah. You might need to get me on up in there, man. Leak me up in there. I'll move out there to Indiana with you, bro. That's what it takes, But we're 100% on board.
All I'm trying to say is this, though. All I'm trying to say is this. I understand both of y'all points about Kyrie Irving, but I think that a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these professional athletes go through a lot of mental health stuff. DeMar DeRozan's the poster child for that. So is Kevin Love. And I feel like, yes.
Okay, but Kyrie has not been to the extreme of nowhere close to Kevin Love or DeMar DeRozan.
I agree.
Right. And here's my other thing to piggyback on that. You don't have to really come out and say to us that it's mental health issues or whatever, but you might want to talk to the people that are paying your salary and say, hey, man, I got some issues going on right now that I really need to handle. Like, he didn't do that.
No, that's where he messed up. That's what I agree with.
Yeah, man, if you got mental health issues going on, which, man, I don't care who you are. We all go through some form of it. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, man, you got to be like, hey, man, I got to take some time. The way he went about doing what he did, I didn't agree with. Now, what he did for George Floyd and some of the extracurricular stuff he does and the money he donates, man, of course I love that. But him as a person, some of the things he does is suspect. Like, he wouldn't be able to kick it in our crew, Mike. We'd be like, dude, what? No. Yeah. Man, we're all out here trying to grind, man, and you just go up and leave after burning some sage and then act like it's good. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
burning that sage, I was like, dang, Kyrie really out here.
You know what I'm saying, though, Mike? So, I mean, I think that's just us being cut from the same cloth, man. There's certain stuff that ain't flying.
No.
You think they slid hard?
I respect that opinion, and I appreciate hearing it because it's nice to hear it.
Why you think they slid Harden in the way they did? They weren't thinking about Harden until Kyrie started really, really tripping, and then KD was like, "Man, I can't do this by myself. We got to go get him." I guarantee you that's what happened, Mike.
Listen. I think, and Michael mentioned this certain player later, but I think Karis LeVert is a future superstar. At least star. But that's my point. We'll get into that later. We'll shelf that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think the moment that a lot of people have been waiting for is up now. The embrace debate. Fresh West, get ready. So last week.
Hey, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know we got Bonds and we got Wells for about another 20, 25 minutes.
All right.
We should probably get into our questions with him.
All right, perfect.
Because I don't want to lose him. I want you to be able to get all your questions off.
All right, perfect. No, that's fine. All right, so he kind of mentioned, so he answered one of my questions. My first question was, how did he get into sports writing and how did he end up in Indy? That's been answered. My next question is this, and I know that obviously there's certain things you can't say, but as much as you can say is appreciated. So my first question is, obviously, what was your thoughts on the Colts this past season? Because y'all had Phillip Rivers for a year.
Well, here's my thing. Hey, I know we got about 20 more minutes left, but here's my thing. I know it's y'all's show, but Jay, can we talk Oladipo? Because I'm about to crush her, bro. Hey, I'm about to crush him. I mean, Jay, he's gonna want to go outside in the snow in Maine, ball up that Hickory Oladipo shirt, and put it in the fire after this.
Wow. I mean, hold on, both of you. Time out. So here's my point. I should have started with this question. So, first of all, I'll give you the background, the reason why I liked Oladipo. So I was kind of the reason why I relate to Kyrie is because I've gone through a lot of shit mentally in my lifetime. And when I was going through a hard time in college, I was like, it was close to my birthday. My birthday's May 4th, same as Vic. And I was like, oh, dang, Vic, it's Vic's birthday. So I started watching Vic highlights. I get into him big time. This is back in like his Orlando Thunder days. And I followed him and I just kind of got that connection. But that's beside the point. So my point is, what exactly happened in the Vic Oladipo trade? Because clearly you don't like him anymore. I don't know why.
It's not a matter of, I mean, from a talent standpoint, he's got game. The thing is, he came in, he was all lip speak. He came in talking about, this is my second home. I'm from the, Maryland, D.C., Virginia area, but Indiana is my second home. I was a star at Indiana University. I'm coming here. I'm going to be the pride. He'd be on the court talking about, this is my house after he made a great play. But then he suffered that gruesome injury. He came back, clearly was not 100%. And then when they're going down to the bubble in Orlando, instead of trying to at least get out there to see if he can play, he's coming out talking about, I don't think I can play. Bro, get some practices in. And then once he found out that, okay, I'm going to lose some money because if I don't have the actual medical side that I'm injured, he wanted to play. And he balled pretty well. Then, there's reports here in Indianapolis about him telling opponents during games that he would love to go play with them.
Ooh.
You can't do that if you truly believe you the franchise player. You out there talking about you talking out both, like my mama used to say back in the days. You talking out both sides of your mouth. You coming out both sides. You saying you want to be the face of the franchise, but then you out there on the sly on the D low, trying to say, "Hey, I want to play with you." So yeah, I don't like how he handled it. And then he's got horrible whoever his media people are. They're not helping him out. And basically, he kind of pushed himself away from the Pacers organization. So had he handled it professionally, I'm all good. But when you sitting there talking about you gonna zig, but you zagging, it don't look good for you. That's my problem with Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, because
bro.
That's interesting too. Because remember, man, for a while there, you're right. They were talking about how he wanted to trade, and then all of a sudden, it was like, nah, he says he's happy with where he is and he wants to be here.
Right, well, see, my piece was, I thought that had to do with McMillan being fired and finding the right replacement. That's what I thought it had to do with at first. I didn't realize all this other stuff. But follow-up question regarding the Pacers, not regarding Vic, is so he said he wanted to be that franchise player. Obviously, he was lying. So now in Indianapolis, who is viewed as the franchise player? Is it Domas or is it Malcolm?
Oh man, that's a great question. That is a great question. I mean, Domas is balling out.
Both of them are balling, and I'm a huge Sabonis fan, man. I love the way he plays. I'm a huge Sabonis guy, And like when I was rocking Indianapolis, like when Vic was there, Sabonis was like my other dude. Like I love Sabonis and I like Malcolm too. But anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
See that? Hey, that's a tough question right there. But Domas is the one that's truly balling. I mean, basically, he's a triple-double machine right now. And what I like about Sabonis is, and Jay, you can fill me on this, he got that old school game. He don't pass like his pops did with the Trailblazers, but he's got that old school 90s game where he's going to get there. He's going to back you down, bang, 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 and do it old school. He's not very fast, but he's effective like they did back in the day, man, well before Funky Cola Oladipo was born.
Yeah.
And he had that, so he's got that throwback old school game. That's what I love about Domas.
Hey, and then he can not only back you down, man, he face up on you, and you're like, oh, and then he'll dunk on your dome if you don't watch him.
Well, no,
Bonus is cold.
And so, and then to my other point, and I know we have to go soon, but the biggest thing for me is, so again, I started following the Pacers, and I was like, when they got Malcolm, I was like, if this team stays fully healthy, I thought that they could go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Then Oladipo gets hurt and everything goes downhill. But another thing, I think Miles Turner has had a great year too. And he doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves outside of like the Pacers organization. Because what is he averaging, like 3 blocks this year or something, Mike?
I think Miles Turner, from an offensive standpoint, I think Miles Turner has reached his peak. I think the thing about Miles is a great help side defender. That's where he gets most of his blocks from. Is that he is an incredible help side defender. From an offensive standpoint, I think he's reached his peak. I believe Miles needs to be in an up and down system because he's not a back to the basket guy like Domas. Miles is like, I want to get out in transition and be that stretch big man, shoot the three. That's how Miles' game is. I think what he is now is the best he's going to be. And I think he's a very, very solid basketball player. Great young man, incredible young man. But I'm not sure if he's going to peak it anymore.
Gotcha.
All right. Now, 2 final questions regarding the Pacers. Then if Fresh has anything, I'll go. And I'll make this quick. 1, do you think Karis LeVert was a good ad that you guys got in the trade? And 2, obviously you guys got 2 of the holidays. Do you think Aaron Holiday has starter potential down the line?
Hey, LeVert, first of all, let's hope everything works out. LeVert continues to get better health-wise, and he's back on the court for the Pacers at some point. And anybody related to the LeVert family, old school R&B family, I can roll with. So so we hope that's going to be okay. I didn't even get a chance to drop to the old school radio stuff in college, Jay. My in between the sheets, man. We used to be up in the college station. I left that out. So I'm an old school R&B junkie, man. So I can roll with LeVert. But he potentially has a chance to be the next, joining Domas and Malcolm as the face of the franchise. That is a nice 3-headed monster with Miles thrown in also. That is a very solid starting 4 for the Pacers if everything works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, man, and shout out to the Indiana Pacers too, man, for just rolling with him and not blocking the trade based on his health, discovering that situation with him, man. I think he's going to be very loyal to you guys because he said that trade saved his life, and that he just seems to be praising you guys right now, man, for that.
I mean, I'm a big LeVert fan, and I was a LeVert fan from his Brooklyn days too, and I respect him a lot. So I think that'll be a good trade. I think the Pacers' biggest issue is obviously the starting 5 can't stay healthy because TJ is still out. I think and that hurts. But
me and Funky Cole, we had an issue with them letting Nate go, but I'm partial to Nate.
Listen, I'm upset too. I was upset too because Nate was my guy. Yeah. Nate, put it like this. Hey, we talk about telling stories to NBA folks. Again, I know we on a time schedule, but we don't have opportunities to get on this too often, so we're going to enjoy the moment. When the Colts played the Seahawks in 2017 out in Seattle, a couple cats, TV people, they went up to Nate talking about, where should I go eat at? Nate said, all right, I need you to go to this Chinese spot right by Key Arena. Yeah, I went there all the time when I played and when I coached, and you go in and tell the owner that I sent you, and she's going to give you stuff off the menu. Hey, these are brothers, Jay, and brothers love chicken wings.
Yes. They
came back, and I'm out there kicking it. I'm out there trying to enjoy life with the fellas, and so we were out there golfing and everything. So I didn't hang with the TV people. That was a brothers' weekend. They came back and they said, "Man, Those are the best chicken wings I ever had in my life. They threw down, and the fried rice right by Key Arena. So, yeah, I'm partial to Nate, too, because his days with the Sonics and even with the Trailblazers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So,
But the coach they got now is kind of doing his thing. I give
Yeah,
respect.
no, hey, listen, change happens. Not everybody can stay in one place. Not everybody can be Greg Popovich or Rick Carlisle or Eric Spoelstra, where you're staying in one spot for a long time. You need a fresh voice after a while. So I get it.
yeah. The tough part for me, though, with Nate, and I shout out to their coach they got in there doing it now. My issue with how they did Nate was, man, he never had a full squad come playoff time, man. I mean, he someone was always injured. From Oladipo to, remember, Sabonis last year was Sabonis.
Yeah.
That's my point. They always had an injury. That was my point too.
So that's kind of what our issue was. And like I said, man, bring back our Sonics. I'm partial to Nate. They need to go and bring back the Sonics and let Nate be the coach again. You know what I'm saying? We'd be all good in the hood.
Hey, let GP and Sean be a GM and assistant GM, man.
Listen, they need to bring back the Sonics, and y'all need to do an all Washington lineup starting with Isaiah Thomas at point guard.
Let young Isaiah do his thing. You know, I bring Malachi back home, you know?
Hey, no, Malachi don't fit in perfectly in Toronto. Give him time.
Yeah, you ain't trying to let that piece go.
I seen what he's been doing in the G League. I ain't trying to let that piece go.
Yeah, he a problem. So anyways, what else you got for Mike, man?
Me? I mean, if Wes has anything, he can go ahead.
Yeah, Wes, go ahead, bro.
So my question kind of teeters on something you already talked about. Kind of how you teeter the personal relationships you have with, the Pacers players, Colts players, versus the job you have to do reporting on them. You know what I mean? Like, because essentially your job is to write about their performance, write about what they're doing, but you're also with them, I would assume, most of your time. So do you find a struggle of having to be brutally honest with them versus how their reactions might be on what you write?
No, not anymore. I when I was younger, when I was Funky Cold, Oladipo's age and stuff, fresh out the womb still, that's when that's when I was like that. But I've been in the business now for 20 plus years, so I know I let athletes know up front. I'm like, hey, you're not gonna always like what I write or have to say about you. If you don't like it, please let me know. I'm not gonna run from it. And that's where you get that mutual respect. We get that mutual respect, and we're good to go from there. So now, it took me a couple of years to learn that, but now it's nothing. It's no problem at all with that.
Yeah, you are OG. Basically, you've been in the game.
Hey, we the old heads, Jay. Like, remember we used to be like, man, these old cats. Now that's us.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I just want to make something clear because I know that you got to go soon. You did change a little bit my opinion on VO. So, I appreciate that you educated me. I
got you. That's what I'm here for. We're here to educate each other.
Yeah.
But listen, I've always been a Sabonis guy, and I don't think Sabonis is the type of guy to do that. That's all I'm going to say.
Sabonis is good people.
Yeah, he wanted to get you on here earlier. We wanted to get you on earlier because when that was going down, because then he would have more clarity on it. So
right, because I would have had more clarity then. Yeah. But also, side note, I haven't followed Oladipo since he's been on the Rockets because I don't vibe with Houston. And I was kind of like, why did he get traded? So I'm kind of glad that you brought that piece up. So now I know. Now I'm gonna keep loving my Storm and Norman Powell, man.
Hey, so is that last question you got for Mike?
I mean, yeah, I'm good. I'm good for now because we got other stuff we want to touch on, Coach. So
hey, man, I'm great, man. Let me why don't you go ahead and start talking about this situation. Oh, man, my question is the Carson Wentz piece.
Oh, I was going to ask that too.
Oh, go ahead. You got another question, Fresh?
Carson Wentz was my next question.
Yeah,
hey, we got time. I got time to answer Wentz question. We got listen. That's the fresh. Hey, we talking about fresh. That's the fresh news right now. We got time for that.
All right, because I think mine and Wes's question was, what's the thoughts on the Carson Wentz trade? Because y'all didn't have to give up too much for it, and do you think it's going to be worth it?
You know what? Here's the thing. If Carson Wentz can get back to being the quarterback he was before, it'll be worth it. Think about it. The Colts didn't give up a first-round pick for him. You can't give up a first-round pick for a guy who was benched, sacked 50 times, threw 15 interceptions in only 12 games last season. Right. Now, if he reaches the quota of 70 or 75% of the snaps and the Colts have success, he's well worth that first-round pick if the Colts go to the playoffs, and he still has a lot of football ahead of him. He's 28 years old. I mean, I know he won't be like Tom Brady playing until he's 43, 44 years old, but 28 years old, you still got a chance to play 10, 12 years of effective football in the NFL if everything pans out. I just trying to see if Frank Reich, the quarterback guru, can get Wentz back right in the right direction.
Well, Frank Reich got him going the first time in Philly.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I do want to mention that I think Frank Reich was one of the best coaching hires that, like, in the past 3, 4, 5 years in the NFL. Like, you guys could have gotten one of the best coaches possible.
No, hey, listen, Frank Reich's a G. Hey, my man, he walks, he's a straight religious guy, but my man, not many head coaches walk into the stadium wearing some big old Beats headphones and with the swag saying, I'm the smartest coach in the building. I'm going to outsmart the other coach on the other sideline. I'm going to have a better scheme than the defensive coordinator. But that's Frank Reich. He got that low-key swag to him. Okay. Church going, brother, but he's got swag to him.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Yeah, and I was going to ask you, Frank Reich, he is a QB guru, and he had this cap before, so they got a nice little relationship. I can't say that I have any faith in Wentz, and if he balls out, I take my hat off to him. I just didn't like how he handled himself in Philly. But then again, I'm listening to Mac. You know what I mean? Like I'm on board with Max when it comes down to Wentz. Like it's like,
hey coach, listen, man, we need to stop. I stopped listening to Matt Kellerman. First, I stopped listening to him after the Iguodala comment. Then I stopped listening to him after the DeAndre Jordan comment. All right, that dude lost his mind. That's all I'm saying.
And if you talk to him about boxing, he hasn't. That knows his boxing, man. So,
well, that's all the questions I had, and I don't know what's going to happen with this shirt after tonight. We'll see, Coach.
Hey, Jay, man. Hey, y'all in the same town, Jay?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. Jay, if you see some smoke popping up in your town, man, that's because the Funky Coles burned that Oladipo T-shirt, man.
Y'all are funny, man.
Hey, you're not feeling that, cat.
There might be some smoke. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, fellas, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. I had a good time. I had a good time with this.
Hey, I mean, I'm so glad you came on, bro.
Hey, listen, man. Anytime you want to come on again, you're more than welcome on the show.
Absolutely, man. Anytime you want to come on, man, and just chop it up, we definitely can, man. If you want to get some stuff off your chest, you got a few things you want to air out.
I think we definitely gonna have to have him on again, especially if the Pacers make the playoffs, man. Because who knows if they get fully healthy and Karras comes back and they get clicking.
Yeah.
Let me know. I will be there.
Okay. Hey, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on, Mike. Hey, man, and tweet this out, man. We'd love to get some fans based off of that Mike Wells clout.
I got y'all, fellas, man. Y'all be good, Jay. I'm gonna holler at you later on this week, brother.
Please do that, man. Be good, man. Hey.
All right, fellas. I'm out later on.
Kids.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. All right. So, Coach, because that took us about an hour 5, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to kind of get into in this last sort of. I'll say we try to get this in 40 minutes. The last things I want to cover. I want to start with the Deshaun and Baker piece.
Yeah, I know you do. You guys go ahead and do your thing, man.
Well, hold on. So I did my research. Because you know me, Coach, if you know there's anyone that's big into stats, I'm a huge stats fan. You know that.
You are.
So I did my research. And again, Wes, no disrespect to Baker, but when I looked at it, Baker's career stats roll like this. About 62% completion percentage, 11,000 passing yards, 75 TDs to 43 interceptions, 437 rushing yards, 4 TDs, and 21 fumbles in his career. Now, quickly, Baker's played one less year than Deshaun Watson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Deshaun Watson stats are 68% completion percentage, 14,539 passing yards, 104 TDs to 36 picks, 1,677 rushing yards, 17 TDs, and 30 fumbles. And before you go, I'm gonna just pull up the stats from this year. Baker did have a good year with 63% completion percentage, 3,563 yards, 26 TDs, 8 picks, 165 rushing yards, 1 TD, and 8 fumbles. But Deshaun Watson had a 70% completion rate, 4,823 yards passing, which, by the way, led the league. I want to throw that out there. 33 TDs, 7 picks, 444 rushing yards, with 3 rushing TDs and a total of 8 fumbles.
All right, he only threw 7 picks this year.
He only threw 7 picks. The floor is yours.
How many Baker throw?
8.
All right.
But you also have to look at the fact that Baker did have the better receiving core through most of the year.
Baker did get some wins. Like,
So I went based off playoffs. So Deshaun's played 3 playoff games, has 1 win, 63.5 percentage, passing, 870 yards, 4 TDs, 1 pick. Mayfield is, Baker's played in 2, 1 win, 61.97 completion, 467 yards, 4 TDs, 1 pick. Deshaun's making $39 million a year. He is the 2nd highest paid quarterback in the league. Mayfield is making $8 million a year. He is the 25th highest paid quarterback in the league. If I'm going based off straight value, I'm taking Baker all day.
I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that will disagree with you on that, but I appreciate the stats. And you know what? I'm going to let the viewers decide this. Viewers, put down in the comments who you think is better, Baker or Deshaun, and who you'd rather have on your team, and we'll settle this next week.
all right.
But
Question.
Coach, put your input too.
My input is I like where both you guys came. If I had to pick out of the two, it's tough for me. I like them both. I'm happy that Baker's. I think the tough part with Baker though, Fresh, is he just run his mouth a little too much. You know, he never really humbled himself. And then when he had those down seasons, it was kind of like, yeah, man, what have you done for me lately? You know,
he's
kind of
always cannon.
You know what I mean? Like that. But now, man, and I've always liked Baker, even through those moments. I think that he's starting to really understand that, man. Let me just play the game. You know, let me talk when I truly need to talk. In regards to to Deshaun, I mean, he is a freak. He's been in the playoffs. You know, he's won his division several times. You know, I mean, obviously they never really got past the first round after winning their division, but I don't know. I think I'm going to have Deshaun. For me, Deshaun will slightly edge him.
They're both great players. I'm going to throw that out there. They're both good players.
Yes, I want to see Deshaun with more of a Baker Mayfield-esque type team. You know, a couple running backs that are just hogs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some really dynamic receivers. They got rid of the dynamic one he had. So we'll see. But I like both of you guys. I like both that you guys are both, you know, both great concepts of why you guys think your dude is the dude.
Yeah. All right. The next take, a new hot take that I want to talk about, and I sent this to both of you. And actually, on this one, Fresh agrees with me, and I know a lot of people don't because I got a lot of hate for putting this on my story. So I'm gonna need Fresh to back me up on this. And I know I just dissed the guy, but Fred VanVleet is better than Russell Westbrook in terms of helping teams win. I found this on Instagram. This isn't me. Wes and I both think yes. Wes, do you want to say a couple words on this or no?
I've always felt like Westbrook can ball, but he seems to only care about his stats at the end of the day. He seems to care more about, let me get one more assist, let me get one more rebound. I averaged the triple double. I did this. There's a reason why KD left. Like, there's reasons why good players around him leave, I think. But then there are other players I think would want to play with him. But I don't know if Russ is willing to put the team first over Russ.
And my point is, I also think that, like, again, you haven't seen Russ go far. And, well, yeah, obviously, when I bring up the argument if Fred VanVleet has a ring, they say, well, look at who he had on his team. I'm like, okay, but look at all the players Russell Westbrook's had around him. And Fred VanVleet is the type of player where he can go for 50, he can go for 30, he can go for 20. But like the other night against the Timberwolves, he had like 12 points. He had a bad night, and he realized, all right, time to give Norman Powell the ball. Time to give Terrence Davis the ball in the big moment because they hooping right now, and I don't want us to lose the game where Russell Westbrook would have just put his head down and kept going to the hoop. Keep shooting to try to be the guy to win that game. So that's my point on it. Coach, I know you feel a certain way, especially about my animosity towards Russell Westbrook.
I can see where people kind of assume that he's selfish. I think he's about winning. I don't think he's a stat pat. I don't think he pats his stats. I just think that cat goes after the ball harder than anyone. I think he, in regards to like playing hard, I don't think there's ever a time where he doesn't leave it on the floor.
Yeah.
But that's just me. You know what I mean? He has a lot of people that feel the way you guys do. Do I think Fred Van Fleet is better than him right now? I might give Fred the edge as you compare the two players right now. If you go back 2 years ago, absolutely not. To me, not even close. And my other thing that still kind of slightly would make me give Westbrook the nod is I got to see Fred Van Fleet carry a team. Like Westbrook has put his team on his back. Like there have been moments where he's
put his back to where a first round exit.
Yeah, I mean, when there's no one else on your squad.
I agree, but Fred Van Vliet's kind of been put into that Robin role his whole life, his whole
career.
That's
kind of tough to compare the two, then, right?
I agree. But anyways, next topic that we have two big topics left. The one is the last one's going to be a long one, I think. So I really want to save that. But the one I want to get to is top performances we had this week. There's three. There was Embiid's 50-piece the other night, which you said you watched and you were impressed by, Coach.
Yeah, he's a baller.
There was Rozier's game last night, but I think the best game of the week was Jamal Murray's 50-piece the same night as Embiid, and here's why. Let me pull this up for you. So first of all, Jamal Murray was the first player to ever score 50 points, right? And I believe he didn't shoot a single free throw. I think that's one of the first players ever to do that.
Didn't have a single free throw.
But here's the craziest stat. He shot 84% from the field, 21 from 25 on field goals, and 8 for 10 from three. The only player in NBA history to drop 50 and shoot 80% from both.
That's amazing.
And he didn't shoot a single free throw. So it was all just shots.
His 50 piece was far more impressive than Embiid's on the strength of what you just said. Embiid's was just impressive to me because the cat's been dropping 36 this night, 37. You know what I mean? Like
Embiid was due. That, Coach.
He was due for that 50, and no one has scored 50 there since AI, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to both those guys. But I will agree with you, Coach. I mean, as a coach, I will agree with you, Funky Cold.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever see another 50-point game as impressive as the one Murray put out.
No. And last thing I want to touch up on the NBA is I saw today a news saying that DeMarcus Cousins and the Houston Rockets are parting ways.
Yeah, that kind of makes me sad.
That does, because I wish that they didn't do that, but that's a whole different thing. Anyways, the part that I've been getting excited to get into, the top 20 running backs of the 21st century. And I saw this list.
Oh, God.
And I scratched my head a lot. And if I'm scratching my head, it bothers me. So, honorable mentions. And Wes, if you want to chime in on this, please do, because we could be going at this list for 20 minutes. Honorable mentions. Remember, this is 20.
What year? What year is this from?
So this is from 2000 to now.
Okay.
Now, some players here, I understand why they're lower, but because they were more, that there was the tail end of their career in the 2000s, but they still balled in the 2000s. Anyways, honorable mention: D'Angelo Williams, Amon Green, Corey Dillon, Le'Veon Ball, and DeMarco Murray.
I'm already disagreeing right now, but go ahead.
I am too. It gets worse. Number 20 on this list, this was my first problem: Marshall Faulk.
What? Are you sure this is how he's numbering them? Is he really numbering them like this?
That's his number 20. His number 20 is Marshall Faulk. And by the way, people could say, well, Marshall Faulk, was like really was a 90s guy. But people don't realize in 2000, Marshall Faulk had 1,359 yards and 18 TDs, led the league in TDs in 2000. How can you have him at 20th?
Disrespect. Keep going.
And so these are the cats that are put ahead of him. 19, Arian Foster.
Arian had some good years, but
he ain't ahead of Marshall Faulk.
No, not even close.
18, Fred Taylor.
OG Fred. Fred should be honorable mention.
Go 17, ahead. Michael Turner.
Keep going.
16, Maurice Jones-Drew. 15, Curtis Martin.
How are they putting all? Well, Curtis Martin deserves some more respect too.
He does. He does.
But how are they putting all these guys ahead of Marshall Falk?
That's what I'm wondering. 14, Clinton Portis.
Wow.
No, this is worse. Number 13 and number 12 to me are disrespect for two opposite reasons. Number 12 should be higher, way higher, and number 13 should be lower. Number 13 is Matt Forte. I understand Matt Forte was a baller. I get it. But he's not ahead of Curtis Martin. He's not ahead of Marshall Falk, and he's not ahead of Clinton Portis, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree 100%. Keep going.
And number 12 on this list, he should be way up on this list. Number 12 is Chris Johnson.
Yeah, disrespectful. He shouldn't be higher than Marshall either, but he should. They're in the conversation. Keep going.
Okay. Number 11, Jamal Lewis. I didn't know who Jamal Lewis was. I looked up his stats. He was a baller, but he wasn't better than Chris Johnson.
That might be the right spot for Jamal Lewis. He had like 2 or 3 years where he really got busy.
Right.
Okay.
So here's the top 10, and I have a lot of issues with the top 10 too. First of all, number 10 is Jamal Charles.
He's right up there with Chris Johnson as far as I'm concerned.
You think you should be higher? Number 9.
They're similar. They're similar.
Number 9, Tiki Barber.
You like Tiki.
I do, but I don't know if he's 9.
That's
Number 8, from Mike Wells' team, Edgerrin James.
Yes, he should be low. He's the top 5 for me, but keep going.
Number 7, Skittles man himself, Marshawn Lynch.
Oh yeah, he's up there.
Number 6, Steven Jackson. Now, I don't know if Steven Jackson deserves 6.
Closer to 10.
Yes, I think Chris Johnson's ahead of Steven Jackson, and I could argue Marshall Falk ahead of Steven Jackson.
Yep.
Now, here's the top 5. Top 5 I was okay with. Sean Alexander at 5.
Sean was tough.
LaShawn McCoy at 4.
That's my boy.
LaShawn McCoy at 4.
That's my boy, Shady.
Frank Gore at 3.
That's respectful.
That's respectful. Just because of the longevity part of Frank Gore.
Yes.
So here's his top 2. And a lot of the comments are saying it should be flipped.
Who was 3? You didn't say 3.
3 was Frank Gore.
Oh, okay.
2 is AP.
Okay.
And number 1 is LT.
Ooh. Okay, so he absolutely. I'm taking Marshall Falk over LT.
That's my point. And he put Marshall Falk at 20.
That's disrespectful. Corey Dillon is in my top 5. Tell you that.
5?
Top 5.
Wait, but again, see, Marshall Falk is one of those players where he started in the 90s and ended in the 2000s, and he only had a couple years in the 2000s, but I don't care. To me, that doesn't matter. He's top 5 easy.
So here's what I'm going right now. So let me just let you know what I can remember. Maurice Jones-Drew is going to honorable mention.
I agree. I didn't think he deserved to be 16. And I could even argue Michael Turner in honorable mention.
Michael Turner's going honorable mention. Steven Jackson might even be honorable mention.
So you don't think he deserves number 6?
No way.
Yeah.
No way. He's in the teens. Corey Dillon slides up in my. I grew up with Corey Dillon. Like Corey Dillon, that's the rock. And if you look at his stats and look at the teams he had and the numbers he got with no line, you know what the defense was for against Corey Dillon? Stack the box.
And he still got his numbers, didn't he?
And he still got his numbers, bro. Like
I'm gonna look right now. Corey Dillon played for Cincinnati and New England. And by the way, he started in 97, 98, 99. So he could easily, you could easily say that he was a 2000s running back, which he was.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude on a career had 11,000 rushing yards and 82 TDs. How is he not in the top 20?
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
I'm understanding what you're saying.
He has technically, man, because Marcus Allen's my dude, right?
Right.
Look at his numbers and look at Marcus Allen's compared to each other.
But
And
I
look
didn't know something before you get there. This
Mhm.
is why the disrespect for Marshall Falk bothered me a lot.
yeah, Marshall Falk's top 3.
Listen, 12,279 yards, 100 TDs, 100. And he had 3 years in a row, 99, 2000, 2001, where this cat was averaging 5 yards a carry.
Yes. argumentatively, he is number one, in my opinion. Here's the other thing. Check him out. Look at Marshall Faulk's, how many years he had 1,000 yards receiving. Check that out for me.
You mean close to 1,000? Because he had 1,000 yard receiving season, but he had multiple that were 750 plus.
Yes. Well, yeah.
He had 4 seasons, 750 plus, and in those 4 seasons, he was also putting up 1,300 a game rushing, or a year rushing.
He's number one.
So the fact that he's 20, I knew that was going to get you. That's more disrespectful than Kurt Warner at 19.
Yes. They're about equal, almost equal. You're right. But no, you're right. Far worse, because Marshall Faulk should be number one on that list.
Yeah. The other thing is this. How is Curtis Martin 15?
That's just respect. Curtis Martin will probably be number 8-ish, 7-ish, 8-ish for me.
And was Edgerrin James really that good?
Woo! Check his numbers.
He was nasty.
So
that good?
Yeah.
And the other thing
I think Chris Johnson.
Okay. Edgerrin James deserves more. I think he could be higher than 8.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize this, but his first 2 seasons in the league as a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old, he led the leagues in rushing yards.
Yeah.
And then he had 2 seasons where he didn't play a lot. And then he went right back to 1,200 plus rushing yards.
Right. Hey, I will say this, at least on his list, he has the right backs on the list. Like even in the conversation, but Edgerrin James. So it would be, for me on that list, number 1 is absolutely Marshall Faulk.
Right.
Number 2, I got to go AP. I mean, he just kind of put it down.
And here's the thing, and I want to make something clear. No disrespect to LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
But he's better than AP.
You think he's better than AP?
No, he ain't better than AP.
I don't think so either.
But no disrespect to him. He's a baller.
Yeah, and I'm going to put, but LT will probably be 5 for me. And
John Alexander ain't top 5 for you?
He's not. He edges out. He's up there with Edgerrin James at that 6 or 7 spot. And my reason with Sean Alexander is like he did his thing and got a lot of yards, but I was in Seattle when he was there, and man, he wasn't necessarily a tough runner. You know what I mean? Like he didn't like to, if it wasn't running off the outside of the tackles, he wasn't running in between your guard and tackle. He was off the edge a lot. To me, that means a lot as a running back, like how you're getting it. You know what I mean? And so Sean Alexander would be 6 or 7 for me, right up in there with the Edgerrin James.
Yeah. By the way, to your point about Corey Dillon being an honorable mention, I looked at the comments, and one of the top comments is, "Please tell me you're too young to have seen Corey Dillon play. If you did, you're blind." To put him in an honorable mention.
That's disrespectful.
Corey Dillon was a baller.
Corey Dillon should be top 5 but I'm a Seattle guy, and I watched when he got right. I watched as a rookie when he broke Walter Payton's record, and they took his uniform and took it up to Canton, Ohio, because he broke his rookie single game record. But this guy, man, he was all they had. I mean, they literally. Yeah, you look at his numbers. He's top 5 for me in that era.
Okay, but again, he's a Seattle guy, so that's a little bit of a homer thing, isn't it?
I'm biased. But he's probably 5. Marshawn Lynch is up in there too. He's right up in there with that Sean Alexander.
The thing is about Marshawn Lynch, though, is that like I can't put him ahead of CJ2K though, and he is on this list.
CJ, the tough part with CJ, he and Jamal Charles are very similar. Like they had a certain amount of years, and then they just all of a sudden they just were not the same.
Also, here's my other question: how did Maurice Jones-Drew get 16?
How was Maurice Jones-Drew on that list?
You don't think he deserves
an honorable mention at best?
Wow, at best.
Look at his numbers.
I mean, he had a couple years where he ball coached.
A couple years. Okay, so are we looking like?
Okay, Maurice Jones-Drew in 2011 led the league with 1,606 yards.
Okay,
but also had the most rush attempts, but only had TDs out of that. Then followed that up with 414 yards and 1 TD. He only had 3 years where he had over 1,000 yards rushing.
Okay, that's important. He's lucky to be honorable mention. Look at what's the name's numbers from the Ravens. Because he's also a guy that
I saw Jamal Lewis's numbers.
Yeah,
I looked him up because at first I was like, "Who is this cat?"
he had 2,000.
2003, he put up 2,066 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, he averaged 129 yards per game.
That year. What's the rest of his stats look like?
Doesn't have a year it's 1,367, 1,327, and then 1,304. Then the rest is 1,000 at best.
Hey, that's not bad though.
But then he had a couple years where he was he didn't crack quadruple digits. But still, I don't know if he's 11.
Yeah, those are a lot of years of really
he's
getting
11 though. I don't know if he's 11 though.
Yeah.
Is he 11? And then my last point is, I don't know if I can give Matt Forte 13.
No way.
Matt Forte was good, but I don't know if he's 13.
Let's see his numbers. He'd be in the 20-piece or honorable mention for me. I can't front.
Matt Forte never led the league in receiving yards. Never.
Rushing, you mean?
Rushing, I mean. He was pretty good on the receiving end, but his best year rushing was 2013, where he had 1,339.
Yeah, he's honorable mention.
I don't know why he's 13. Clinton Portis, 14 is a pretty good spot, I think.
Yeah, he's higher for me. He's 16, 17-ish. He had some good years. I mean,
Michael Turner for me should be honorable mention.
Yes.
And Michael Turner was good, but Michael Turner was very similar to Maurice Jones-Drew. Had a couple good years, and I think.
Honorable mention.
Yeah, he had a couple good years, and that was it.
Honorable
and then
mention.
my last one is Fred Taylor. Does he deserve to be on the list?
Fred Taylor was in the league for a long while, but they should call him Fragile Fred for a reason. You know what I mean? He used to.
Yeah, he didn't play a full season except for twice.
Yeah, so honorable mention probably for Fred. Maybe 20. Give him a little love, but the disrespect to Marshall Faulk, whoever put that list needs to slap themselves for that. He's number one.
Is there anyone missing from this list that's not even an honorable mention? Hold on.
Was Priest Holmes? When was
Not on this list?
Okay. Look at Priest Holmes' stats. Figure it. Let me know if he played in the 2000s.
Because Priest Holmes was a baller, wasn't he?
Yes, I felt like he did.
Priest Holmes did.
Can we
and
look
he
at?
did not make this list.
That's disrespect. Can we see his numbers?
Yes, I do have it. Career numbers, and take into account Priest Holmes only played. He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons where he barely played. The dude only played 4 seasons where he had played 13 games or more, and he had 8,172 yards on his career, 86 touchdowns.
Yeah, he deserves to be on a list. Honorable mention at worst. He'd probably be that 20 based off of that.
Yeah, just because of the fact that he didn't play much.
Right. Yeah, very, very. This guy's list is interesting, and I can't think of anyone off top, but I'm sure we're leaving someone
I'm
out.
looking online right now.
I do love that LaShawn McCoy was on that list.
I do, but I don't think he deserves 4.
No way. Love him. Love him.
But
What's
I don't think he
his
deserves
number
4.
look like?
Wait. Ricky Williams.
He's
Wait a
up.
minute.
He's about 20. Or honorable mention.
Let's see. Priest, yeah. On this other list, Priest Holmes, they say should be at least 6.
Yeah, he was cold. He should be up there. What was the one who were you just talking about?
Fragile Fred?
Not Fragile Fred. We were just talking about somebody that wasn't Priest Holmes. Who were we just literally talking about?
Ricky Williams.
No, someone before him. And we just kind of skipped over him.
That wasn't on the list?
Might have been someone that wasn't on the list. Oh,
Was
LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah,
What-
LaShawn McCoy.
What was his numbers?
Oh, let me pull those up. Well, he's still in the league too, but he ain't doing much.
Right. Well, she's getting rings.
He's getting-
He got 2 of them back to back.
Cigars sitting on the bench, coach.
Yeah, I ain't mad at him.
11,000 yards or 11,102 yards, 73 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Dude, I don't know. Biggest takeaway from that list for me was whoever made this list, you need to look yourself hard in the mirror and tell us why Marshall Falk is 20.
That's disrespectful. I can't even, you know.
I see. I kind of wish we could have had Mike Wells for the whole 2 hours because I would have been interested on his take on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, look up Marshall Falk. How many fumbles has that cat had in his career? I bet you can count them on. I bet you if he's had 10, that's a lot for him.
Marshall Falk?
Yeah.
No, he played a lot of years. You forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
So he had 36
fumbles out of his career.
But he never had a season besides his second season where he had 8 that was more than 5. Ever. And he had 2 seasons with 0 fumbles.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
And one of them was in 2003 when he was about to end his career. My last question for you is this.
Mm-hmm.
Tiki Barber is in his top 10, yes or no?
It's who? Tiki? Ask it again.
Barber's in his top 10.
He's not in mine.
He's not in yours.
I don't even know if he makes my 20. What's his numbers look like?
I'll get him for you. Tiki Barber, 10,449 yards, 55 TDs.
He's
only played in about 10 seasons and had 53 fumbles.
Yeah, I'm about to say he had fumbleitis for sure. He's in the 20-ish honorable mention. I'd probably give him an honorable mention. That's just me.
I want to figure out why this guy put Steven Jackson at 6. I need to look at his stats.
Steven Jackson had a couple good years, but he's not number 6.
Yeah, I was going to say, you sure as hell ain't number 6. He had a couple good years, but like nothing to write home about, though.
No. I don't know what this cat was doing, but it's good to check out lists like this and kind of have your own opinions and whatnot, you know?
Right. No, I agree. Also, by the way, no, go ahead. Can finish what you were going to say.
I just want to make sure everybody's hitting that like and subscribe button.
I do too. Last thing I want to mention is this. Do you know who the Raiders' all-time passing leader is? This surprised me.
Is it not Plunkett? It's not Plunkett, or is it Stabler? Stabler or Plunkett? Neither one of them, huh?
Carr.
It might be. Get it. It's Carr?
It's Derek Carr with 26,896.
Ooh, I like that. They be disrespecting my boy, man. Okay.
And that surprised me. And I don't know if you'll know this or if Fresh will know this, but do you know who Cleveland's is? Either one of you?
Bernie Kosar.
Nope. Some guy by the name of Brian Sipe.
Sipe was filthy. Yeah, it's before your guys' time.
And then my Cowboys was Tony Romo. That surprised me considering there was the whole Staubach and Aikman thing.
Well, but Aikman didn't throw for a ton of yards, man. He just won rings, man. He just got it done other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let me put you up on game because we probably should shut this down here shortly.
Shut this down, yes, sir.
Did you know the makers of the board game Monopoly print over $50 billion worth of Monopoly money every year? That's ignorant. You know what I'm saying? The Monopoly makers print over $50 billion worth of Monopoly money every year. That's crazy that they print money that's not worth anything. I mean, that amount of money's put into money that's fake money that's not worth anything other than what you need to have to play Monopoly.
That's crazy to me, man.
That's insane, huh?
All right, y'all. That is another episode.
Yeah, episode 7 in the books.
Episode 7 in the books. I think it was a good episode. We'll get another episode in. Maybe you guys, I know we kind of like that Wednesday slot. Maybe we'll try to get one in next Wednesday.
That sounds good.
Because I know there'll be stuff between now and then. There always is stuff between now and then in the sports world. I think we'll definitely focus more on basketball. I think I'm done with the hot takes for football, but I'm gonna find some interesting basketball lists. I like dissecting these lists personally.
I feel you. It's cool.
I like dissecting these lists.
Shout out to Mike Wells for coming and blessing us, man. ESPN analyst, man. You know my guy. We go way back, and man, appreciate you too. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining another podcast of the Coffee Table.
Yes, sir.
See you at episode 8.